Your question for me is, who is Matt Sheehan? I'll give you a very brief overview of who I am and my background. So I'm obviously British originally. I'm now based in Salt Lake City in the west of America. I did a physical geography degree at London University in England, and I came over here and did a master's degree in GIS at the University of Utah. And that was in 1996, I think I was doing that. I actually did a web GIS application, or wrote a web GIS application at that time, so that was my work. I've really spent 50% or so of my career, half my career, on the technical side of the geospatial or GIS industry, and then pretty much the other half of it on the business side. So I've kind of lived on both sides of the industry. I suppose as a geographer, I've always tried to look at the world from the top down. So if you like, sometimes think of an inverted pyramid. I think it's really important to look at the big pieces first and then to drill down from there. So, I remember as a physical geographer in England loving studying U-shaped valleys. I live really close to one here actually in Salt Lake, and looking at that shape, the big picture, and then trying to understand deeper and deeper as to why and how that was formed. So as a geographer, I always look at things from the top down, and I brought that into sort of my world of work as well. So through my sort of career over 25 years or so, I've seen the evolution of the technology from sort of desktop to web to mobile to today. And I've kind of written and spoken at length about the fact I've seen these different revolutions, and they followed the sort of the revolution of technology. But my fundamental belief is that now we're at an incredible stage, bigger than any of those other ones. We're really in a revolution, particularly in the location-based sector, which is obviously where I'm focused. So location-based data and technology, and in many ways, what was a niche technology that was really focused in the public sector, infrastructure, GIS, is now becoming a much more mainstream technology, and I think that's really exciting. And I think when we talk about mainstream, we're really talking about commercial uses of location data and technologies. The traditional sort of GIS space has really been a niche in the public sector, where folks like I went to work, was generally where the geospatial technology and data is being used. But now there's a much broader focus, and I've been calling that Geospatial 2.0, and it's really been driven by, and it's relatively recent, over the last 2, maybe 3 years, where we've already sort of got these new sensors that have arrived, which are miniaturized, so we can now collect amazing amounts of data. So it's from satellites to aerial imagery and LiDAR, down to terrestrial levels, IoT. So we've now got this tsunami of data, and we've got analytical tools now, artificial intelligence and machine learning to process that. So that's really become my focus in many ways, is this new world that's emerging. So I suppose if I was kind of to describe as sort of my purpose, my why, it's really to help organizations navigate these what are uncharted waters to success. That's kind of how I summarize it. And I think the sort of the how of how I sort of look at that stuff, again, given a perspective where I believe we need to sort of drill down from the top down to the details. There's really 4 components. There's understanding, there's focus, there's a plan and execution. So those 4 pieces. And as you kind of break those things down, I mean, from an understanding perspective, I think you have to kind of understand where you've been to know where you are today and where you're going. And so some of the things I bring when I work with folks with different organizations is to have that 25 years of experience of where the industry's been, some of the things that have worked, some of the things that haven't worked, just the technologies, the data, even the connections into the industry. So I bring a lot of understanding to the table, just based on my experience. One of the things, the second thing is focus. I find that I work with a lot of organizations that have a scattered focus. And I think, as Geoffrey Moore says, it's really important to have a really chosen target, a beachhead. And so I help I help organisations get focused to understand where they should be targeting, given their value proposition, essentially. And talking of value proposition, I mean, that next piece is a plan or the strategy. And a lot of people talk about the strategy. They talk about value proposition. They talk about go-to-market and more. And they're critical. And holes in those pieces are going to be a problem for organisations. So again, there's a strategy piece that I tend to get involved in, whether it's helping connect those dots or filling in gaps, etc. So I think the plan's important, but again, too often I see people making big plans and putting them on a shelf. Strategy is only as good as the execution phase, and I think that last element of sort of that how question is, how do you execute? And I think amazing execution is absolutely that critical piece, and communication is at the core of that. And I through my career are a very good communicator. So I find myself helping organizations communicate that value, communicating with customers their value proposition. And I mentioned customers there. I think that the critical aspect to success is really that connection with customers. So I think that everything I do and have done in the past has really been centered on the customer. So I think success really is if I sort of summarize, is those four elements: understanding, focus, planning, and execution. And I hope to bring, with my years of experience in the industry, again on the technical end and on the business side, a perspective which hopefully fills in gaps and helps complete those pieces. So I find myself very excited about the future of the location and geospatial industry. I see this expansion of it. I see these new startups and companies that are pivoting to try to take advantage of what is now the ability to take location-based data, static and real-time, and to provide answers to questions very quickly, and leveraging artificial intelligence and machine learning. So my goal is really to help organizations, again, chart those waters and improve their chances of success in what is an opportunity-filled marketplace. So I hope that gives you a quick summary of me.